Hey folks, how you doing? Dave McRae here. What's going on? What's shaking? What's doing? What's happening? It is what is it today? It's Thursday. It's Thursday, March the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It is 7:17 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know how I am, coming to you live from the VoiceMann Studios in Toronto, Canada. And this is going to be a fun show today because on the show, this is sort of not something that I do regularly, but I wanted to get these two on the show. We've been talking about it for a few months. This is a director, filmmaker from Michigan, from the States, who has just recently shot a short film entitled Sisters, starring Shelby Handley. You know who Shelby Handley is. She played Emma in It's Me, Billy. And this was shot last September, I believe, end of last September, somewhere in and around there. They shot for a few days, maybe a week. They'll be able to tell us. And it is now in post-production. But they're looking to raise funds for post-production because, you know, making a movie is not cheap. And depending on what you want to do in post-production and maybe some of the mixing, maybe some of the editing, maybe some visual effects, who knows? I don't know. They can tell us. But they're looking to raise a little bit of money, and they've since launched a Kickstarter for this. Not Indiegogo. This is Kickstarter. Same kind of thing, but a bit different, which we will pop. The link is currently in the description in the box right now, in the description box. We'll drop it in the chat room here as we go throughout the show and talk to them about Sisters. It is sort of this psychological thriller kind of short film. I've had a look at some images. I've sort of read, you know, a bit of the script. I've seen their Kickstarter campaign video, and Shelby was telling me all about it last summer when we got together with Victoria and Malika. She was telling me about this project that she was excited about working on in the next few months, and I was like, this is amazing, this is awesome, and now it's sort of come to be. At least it's almost there. So let's bring them on. Let's bring Josh Martin and Shelby Handley on to discuss this. And there they are. They haven't got to make sure your mics are on. Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hi, happy St. Pat's.
Yeah, same to you. Josh, what's happening, man?
Happy St. Patrick's Day, Dave. Thank you for letting me on. This is amazing. You know, I've been watching you for a number of years. So.
Oh, well, I hope it's been all good.
Well, yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm an acquired taste. What can I say? Well, that I appreciate that. That's really cool that, you know, to know that you've been watching me for the last few years and then I can have you on here. So that's awesome. So let's dive into it. Let's talk about, wait, is my mic on? Yeah, my mic's on and your mic's on. Okay, I just want to make sure I see things bopping up and down and shit that's muted, and I want to make sure it's not me. Of course, the chat room will probably let me know. So let's talk about Sisters. Josh, let's start with you. Where did the idea of Sisters come from? By the way, did I get everything correct that I said in the intro about the project? Am I off on something when it's shot or anything like that, or it's good?
No, you're pretty accurate. You know, it was shot in Kalamazoo, Michigan, West Michigan. We did shoot, and I can be bad with dates. Shelby might even correct me on this, but I believe it was mid-September, I believe. So.
Yeah.
And
So I was pretty close.
That's a psychological thriller. That's the best way to describe it. It has a drama, maybe a little bit as well, but I think you described it aptly. Yeah.
Cool. So tell me why Sisters? You know, I mean, you can tell us as much information as you want, or there might be some things you want to keep close to the vest that you don't want to say because they might be spoilery. I don't know. But by all means, why Sisters? How did this come to be? What is the short film about? And why Shelby? I mean, like, seriously, I don't get it. I don't see it, really. I mean, you know, there's a reason why she, you know, and I'm just saying. No, but but tell us about how Sisters came to be.
Yeah, so it's been a project in the making for a couple of years now. The cinematographer, Zach Clark, me and him have been friends for a number of years, and we met a couple of years ago to talk about a potential project. And I hadn't done a short film in a number of years, and to be honest, at first, I just wanted to, I'm really into just writing, you know, complex characters. I just wanted to write a character study, really is what I wanted to start with. So I was like, Zach, I have these two characters in mind, and really the basis of them, to be honest, is me and my sister's own relationship, but I'd say it's our relationship from when we were a bit younger. Now we're both in our 30s, and so it's something that it's always stuck with me to tell a story about kind of our relationship in more of a cinematic way. But then Zach, when we met, he said, well, okay, that's an interesting idea, but why don't you frame it more into like a thriller or a psychological thriller? And then and one of the words he really said to me, and I don't know why it stuck with me forever, but he said, once you start the script, the match is lit. So that just clicked with me, like, okay, let's make it short, 10 pages, and the momentum is there from the opening frame till the very last frame, just no dips in the project whatsoever. So that was the basis. So I went to write it. I won't go into all the details because maybe we'll go into them later, but it was a long process to get all our ducks in a row, to get the locations and everything like that. And once I felt confident in the script and I was, passing it to my producer, Zach, we felt confident in it. Then it was just about making it a reality. We both, had to save up for the film, and this is part of it, but I have been a fan of your channel, and once I saw It's Me, Billy, and I was following the progress of that project, I saw Shelby, Malika, and what's the third actress name? Victoria. And I just felt like Shelby in my mind it felt right for the character of Willow, who's the main character in Sisters. And I was like, oh, she has a really interesting look. So I kind of, so I started looking at her, her work. I'm at some point I messaged her on Instagram just to see if she had any interest. And I think I came upon her project Sea Breeze as well, because It's Me, Billy wasn't released at that time. So I watched Sea Breeze and I was blown away by the performance. Sea
Breeze is great.
She plays this drug addict who's really struggling. Yeah, just really well filmed. Her performance was really raw and just heartbreaking. And that's kind of the essence of what I wanted Willow to be, this damaged person who's really, really fighting to make her life better than what it is at that time. And then, she eventually, I sent out the script and, everything kind of came from there, but that's the basis of it.
Interesting. Yeah. Sometimes that happens, you see certain people and that is why some writers will write with an actor in mind. Sometimes it can suck if that person doesn't have any interest in the project or the studio doesn't want them to be a part of it, because sometimes that can happen too, right? The director may want an actor or have an actor in mind, but the studio's like, and they have to fight for them to be. We've heard that kind of thing happen a lot. Obviously, that's not the case here because you are the studio, but that can happen, right? You see actors, you see people, you're like, that's, I like the look, I like the presentation, I like the acting. Before, yeah, totally, this is totally Willow. I can totally see this, so that's really cool. That's really cool. Shelby, so, when you got wind of this and you were approached about this, what intrigued you about the character of Willow?
Yeah, so when Josh first reached out to me, like I wasn't familiar with his work, or I didn't really know anything about him. So at first I was like, okay, well, let me see a script. I want to make sure he was like a real person with an actual script.
Well, it is the internet. You never know.
And so he did send me the script, and I just really liked the dynamic. And I just thought that Willow's like, she is, like Josh said, she's just kind of like fighting constantly. And I really liked that energy about her. And I thought it would be a really fun frame of mind to try to settle into this person who's like just running on high all the time, no idea where to even turn or what's real, what isn't real. I don't want to say too many things, but it does. I liked sort of the progression of the script as a whole,
Right.
kind of following her character. And then you as an audience member kind of don't really know what's real either and how that relates to her sister. And it was also really fun for me because I am the oldest child.
I was going to say, you
and I have a younger
sister.
sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in this, I got to be the younger sister.
Right.
Not that Willow is anything like Tegan, but it was kind of fun to sit in that a little bit and go, okay, like in terms of just relationship dynamic outside of this situation, like what does that look like? And how can I pull from that? Because in a lot of ways, I relate more to Sarah's character, Sarah.
Right. Right. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Older sibling.
She was the same name. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was interesting. And I thought it would be a challenge and different from anything else that I had really had the opportunity to do before.
Yeah. I remember you saying that when we spoke last summer that you were excited about it because of that. You know, it was different and offered up an interesting challenge. And I think, you know, as an actor myself, that's sort of what, you know, we look for. You know, we look for, you know, it's fine if you can get yourself into a role that pays well and is great and it's the same thing over and over again. That's fine. You know, okay, that's great. But at the end of the day, you know, you want to be able to flex those muscles of because depending on how diverse one's skill set is, if you can go here and then go here and then come here and then come here, and not only can you do that, but sometimes we need to do that. You know, there's just our desires to do that kind of thing and play different people is part of the job, the part of the lore and the it's like what the hell am I trying to say? Part of the as an actor you are it's built into you, right? So you want to be able to flex those muscles in terms of, it's like a need, right? You know, you can't just get landlocked into one sort of role. You know, at least you don't want to. No actor does. So I think it's great. Like to think, you know, and I know you have another short film that's coming out soon as well. I believe it's called Sledgehammer, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Oh yeah. That actually, the premiere is tomorrow.
Yeah, amazing.
But it's in Ottawa. That was actually premiering at a film festival, which is really exciting. The Ottawa, I don't know if it's just the Ottawa Film Festival or Ottawa International. It's kind of like Ottawa's version of TIFF.
Right.
It's still pretty new.
Right.
But it has 2 showings. It's opening for a feature film.
Great.
Which is really exciting.
Yeah.
That's because I worked on that, I think, like 4 years ago now. So.
Oh wow, it's a while ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a while to come to be.
It
Especially
does,
when they're independent films. Yeah. No, well, that's cool. You see, but you know, now I don't know anything about Sledgehammer. I've only seen the poster. By the way, I love the poster. I think it's just a tremendous sort of how you're kind of small and the whole thing comes, you know, the poster I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And, but to go from that, and then you have Seabreeze and then Billy, which is very different, you know, because you're again, you're not the star, you're part of the ensemble, but you are playing sort of a complimentary player who's, you know, kind of this nurturing friend, and then, you know, away you go. Spoiler alert, but hey, if you haven't seen it, you're in no rush. You know, but then to go from that right into Sisters, where you are the star and there's more meat on the bone for the material because because you are the center focus. That must be really sort of, that's what I mean by that. It excites you as an actor.
Absolutely. And I really love to play grungier characters, like anything that is as removed from me as a person as possible. Like that's what I would love to explore, because like you said, like we're actors. Like I love to, part of acting is becoming other people. So yeah, I can play a version of myself and that's all good and well, but it doesn't take a lot to kind of put that on.
Right.
We're all doing that at all times every day, you know, like doesn't take much more than working at the store and you get your customer service voice on, you know? So getting into kind of like psyches and mindsets and relationships that are just so different from anything that you have experience with or have seen firsthand. Like that's really, like you said, like what really excites me as a performer.
Right, right. And Josh, so with Sisters, now you said that you hadn't done a. Oh, by the way, I'm going to put the Kickstarter link, because this is they are raising funds, folks, on Kickstarter. Anything, if you can, if you can't, that's okay. Hey, you know, it's tough times. Sharing it with friends and family will also go a long way. Let me just get the link here, and I'm going to share it in the chat room. And this is like Indiegogo, but it's Kickstarter. And they're looking to raise $5,000 for post-production. So the film has been shot, but obviously there are some things that Josh wants to do. And, you know, when you're doing professional if you want to do a professional job on post-production is what I'm trying to say, it can cost some money. So anything you can, I don't know why the link is so long, but anyway, here is the link to their Kickstarter. Anything you can do to help, even $5, $10, whatever, is greatly appreciated. Absolutely, 100%. But Josh, so, you know, you are, where are you guys here? I lost you. Okay, there you are. This was your first film in a couple years. It's kind of your step back into getting, you know, the engine moving again. What is your goal with Sisters? Or is it still kind of too early to tell yet, because obviously the film is not done in terms of it's not completed, the post-production process. Do you have, what's your goal? Is it the festival circuit, only online? Where are you looking?
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to go back. I realized I didn't answer a previous question. I just wanted to go over the synopsis of the film real quick.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel, but again, it's entitled Sisters, and it's about this relationship between these two sisters. It's a very dysfunctional relationship. They haven't seen each other since they've been adults. It's been strained. So their relationship, they've probably seen each other like on a very rare occasion. So they've had this kind of, you know, I don't go into it, but they've had kind of a traumatic past. And once, you know, Willow's this struggling young woman, she's starting to believe that she's being followed, targeted, and she's not sure who this person is, if it's multiple people. She's so on edge, and she's in such a distraught place in her life that she doesn't have like a lot, like she's kind of so isolated that she doesn't have a big friend group. So the only person she can really turn to is her sister, Sarah. Right. And Sarah, you know, has been out of life, and she reaches her at like the worst time in her life. So with this dysfunctional relationship, it's kind of the tension between them getting reunited, and then just Willow being able to express what's going on without Sarah having belief in, because she's been hard to trust in the past. So it's kind of that, it's really that dynamic of, it's almost antagonist versus protagonist a little bit. And then there's this disturbing man who's kind of lurking in the shadows. And it's kind of one of those things, like Shelby says, is it real? Is it not real? We're not sure, but it really is in that psychological vein of the thriller. But that's just, yeah.
You're talking my game right now. Is it there? Is it not there? Is it real? Is it the dark shadows? Well, listen, like I said, when I watched your campaign video, and in the middle of it, you show a little bit of a tease, right? And you know, now obviously I haven't seen the film yet, but what I've seen of it, at least the way you edit those shots together, I really like. And I like your choice of colors and the way that you've used, you know, light and shadow in, especially I guess it's a bar or a restaurant of some kind. I like that, you know, and of course Shelby's performance is great. And I'm assuming you were using some sort of, gimbal or some kind of handheld thing because of I like the way that it created this, feeling of intensity and urgency, rather than just, you know, having sort of a master shot, seeing her come in and run over here, and the camera sort of, you don't get that same sense of urgency. So I liked that, you know, and then of course this weird shadow in the background. I don't know. Is it Billy? No. Anyway, that's just what it's Billy too, actually, is what's happening right now, folks, just in case you didn't know. It's a whole weird thing. But I like that though, right? Like, I mean, that's sort of those kinds of things speak to me, you know, and so from what I've seen, it looks like you've done, you know, a great job. I'm excited to see the end result. Now, is the picture lock done?
The picture lock is done. Yeah. Right now we're still on the tweaking the editing a little bit, but we've contacted our sound mixer. We've contacted a colorist. We've contacted somebody who's going to compose the score.
Great.
You know, we've got all these people kind of lined up, but the picture is close. I mean, principal photography is done, so the editing is really close to locked.
Right.
Or the final edit is really close to being locked.
Very cool. And are you able to give us a TRT, or is it still kind of too early for that?
Well, I guess now I'll go into the question you had with the goal, because this aligns with that.
Okay.
So, and I almost would have to ask you and Shelby about this, but the two festivals, I am aiming high with this project. So
why not? Right? I mean,
right. They if they say no, they say no. But so I'm looking at TIFF, and I'm looking at I believe it might be Telluride, but I know that South by Southwest it's too late for that. So obviously with COVID and everything, I don't know if TIFF would be a reality for me to get there if that's our debut. It's possible though, I think. But so I looked at TIFF's deadline the other day, and I believe it's in mid-May. So
I was just going to say, it's coming up.
Yeah. So that's kind of my goal, is to have it completed by early May, so we can possibly, submit to TIFF. If that doesn't happen, if that's not the reality, then we look for something like a Telluride, or, something on a higher tier, because, if you go for those big festivals, you have to debut there. You can't show at some random festival in Michigan and then still expect to get into TIFF or something of that effect.
Yeah, that's one of the things that, filmmakers have to keep in mind, is that, is that a lot of the major festivals like your movies to be premieres, or it's not showing anywhere else. I mean, that's why you'll often see, I mean, this, but some of the viewers may not. That's why you'll often see a movie that you hear has come out, but it's playing the festival circuit, and it'll play the festival circuit for like a year or two. And then all of a sudden it winds up on YouTube or Amazon Prime or something. And you're like, oh, geez, I forgot about that. But why did it take so long to come out? Because it was playing the festival circuit, and it can't be seen anywhere else while that's happening. A lot of these festivals, like the sort of, now there are some smaller ones that don't do that, that can say, no, it's okay if it's on YouTube. It's okay if, that's okay if it's 2 years old. That's fine. We'll accept it. But yeah, when you're talking TIFF and Cannes and South by Southwest and all that, they like it to be a premiere of some kind. Dude, I think that's awesome. I mean, listen, if Billy, I mean, we had talked about that with Billy, I mean, to submit it, but because we don't own the IP, that was one thing that we were up against. And we wanted to be, we wanted to get it out sort of to the masses, quickly, because of sort of the anticipation around it and all that kind of stuff. If it was an original film, I mean, anything we do that's original, that's a completely different thing. I mean, obviously, but I get it. I totally get it. And listen, I think TIFF is a great thing to aim for. And if you can't do it, will TIFF or will they accept? No, I don't know if TIFF will, but will South by South? Would they accept Sisters if it was completed this year, next year, like next March?
I believe they would. It was just, you got to wait till, well, actually, that's a good question, because, again, at like a South by Southwest, if, let's just say, hypothetically, I made TIFF, you know, and then
Yeah.
we debuted there.
Oh, it's happening. Oh, no, it's happening. I can feel it. I know it. It's happening.
We debut at TIFF.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's possible that once that's went through, that South by Southwest would still be open the following year, you know, because obviously once I make that initial festival, whatever that may be, then I'm going to look at the other ones. You know, I'm going to look at ones in Michigan and look at ones across the U.S. and
for sure. And there's a lot of them.
New York.
Yeah, New York, Los Angeles. There's the LA Film, New York Film Festival, and even festivals too that specifically target the genre. So any horror, psychological, thriller kind of stuff would be right up the alley as well. I think it's definitely going to get accepted. I mean, from everything that I've seen so far, I think it looks like it's competently made, competently put together. And yeah, so I mean, I think so in terms of the runtime, you think it's a 10-page script. So are we looking at about a 10-minute movie?
Yeah. The last edit that we completed, which is close to the final, it was a little over, it was 10 and a half. So we might trim it a little bit, but it's just over 10. And that was honestly the biggest reason I wrote a 10-page script, is because I'd made some shorts before, and I would end up writing something, let's say 20 pages, 30 pages. And the reality, which it is a harsh reality to face, but when you have a longer movie, the likelihood of you getting accepted lowers your chances, because there's so many other submissions. So you can make an amazing movie that's 30 minutes, but they might not accept it because, we can squeeze in 5-minute movies, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we got to aim for something close to 10, so we have a better chance to make it. Because I've had movies that are 25 and maybe they made 2 or 3 festivals, or but it is the heart, and I've talked to other people, and it is a reality that depending on your length, the chances can be lower.
That's a great point. Yep, and that's true. So yeah, and so, and that doesn't surprise me that it's about 10 minutes long, because like I said, when I had a look at the script, it felt tight, not a lot of fat on it. So that's great. So are there any interesting things that you can tell us, any tidbits of information you can tell us without spoiling anything? Any funny stories from set, anything interesting, something that maybe you've learned about shooting the movie, working with the crew, working with people? What may be something you're really excited about? Any challenges that you face that you overcome? It sounds like but no, seriously, I'm really curious to know. I'll start with Shelby. Shelby, what was anything?
For sure. So for this shoot, we did all night shoots. Did we shoot 4 nights?
It was 3 nights.
3 nights. 3 nights. It was 4 days, right? Because then I had to fly home. Josh drove me to the airport from set.
Right, from set.
Immediately. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
We wrapped at like 6 o'clock and then got in a car and I went to the airport.
I bet you slept on the plane.
Oh, I did. For the whole 40 minutes that each of my planes was, I did sleep. I think as well, like more into the character work, and all directors have a different style. So like working with Josh was great, and again, just like a new style that I hadn't worked with, and he's very we had worked a lot on the character going into the project. So getting there, it's the occasional notes about like refocusing on these things and remembering what we've already discussed, but like we kind of already knew the direction that we wanted to head in with the characters. This particular film, this was really fun because there was a lot of scenes that were like just me and like maybe one other person, but then also we had that big scene in the club, the club scene.
Right.
So even just like working with a large quantity of extras, like I had never done that before, and like figuring out, I don't want to be standoffish, but I also do kind of need to, like, these people are all at the club to be clubbing and I am not. So I'm not in the same place as them. Like, where do you kind of set your own, I don't want to say boundaries because that sounds like a harsher line, but like, how do you find your moments for yourself as a performer where you can still get into your character going into a scene, you know, and still kind of interact with the people that are around you, watching you jump up and down 1,000 times so you feel like you've been running for 20 minutes, and just little things like that. I find for me, I learn the most when I am on set working with other actors and different directors, and just like from myself in different types of scenes. So I feel like I learn something new on every single set. I always have a moment where I'm like, oh, okay, this is what that's supposed to feel like. Great, I figured it out. And usually it's not on the first take, but hopefully it's on one of them. And we did do a lot of movement in this as well, kind of like you mentioned, which again was very new for me in terms of like the pieces that I've done. Like the camera was very close to me at all times. So even just like from a logistical standpoint, it was interesting to have to work so much with Zach, who was operating the camera, and pacing with him and being aware of him whilst also being in the scene. It's very interesting when you don't get to just be absorbed in the moment as a performer and you still have to look like you are. But really your brain is doing 8 things at the same time, because you're like, don't run over the cameraman. Don't hit the person who's carrying this beside you. You have to be aware and see them where they are, hitting all of your marks, but then also looking at the people you're supposed to be looking at in your marks. Yeah. So that was really cool as well.
Very cool. Yeah, it sounds very much like sort of, you know, taking it back to Billy. I mean, that's essentially what Victoria was doing for the most of the movie, right?
Yeah.
So where you and Malika were kind of just in the moment, in the scene, the ensemble part. But once you guys were done, I mean, it was just Victoria, and you know, the camera's here on her face all the time and all around and falling up and down the stairs and all that kind of stuff. And it can be a different experience, a completely different experience.
Absolutely. Even just having a camera like literally in your face, and you can't move. Like, you know, we're running over blankets through a house, and, you know, he can't keep pace with me if I'm physically running. So like, how do you make it look like you're moving quickly, but you're not? And it is kind of funny because you feel like, okay, there's only so, I'll just move on. So I feel frantic, but I'm
movie
walking.
magic. That's what it is.
So those are kind of all the little things that like constantly I am learning about as an actor that you don't think about when you watch it, of course, which you shouldn't be thinking about those things when you're enjoying the film. But you know, you see people running through a house and you're like, yeah, I can run through a house. Like, no, you don't get to run. You have to walk.
It's very different. So, it's very, because one of the things too, that people who, you know, have never made a movie or don't make films, you know, don't take into consideration is that more often than not, there are marks that actors have to hit. And even when you're running through the space or you're walking through the space, you know, and you know, that scene with Victoria in Billy, when we, you know, the oneers we call it, when we go from the bedroom to the thing, then down the stairs to the front door. I mean, I think we shot that 8 times, and it was over 4.5 hours, and you know, and sometimes it's because no, wait, out of frame. You know, or no, wait, we got it. You know, it's a big deal, and usually most films that have tracking shots like that will have some sort of complex. I mean, it depends on the logistics of the tracking shot and how long. I mean, Billy might not be the best example because it's an extreme example, or it's one shot through 2 floors. But you know, but the principles are the same, right? So whether you're in the nightclub and you got to track down here through people, I mean, if you have to go through people and around people to make it look like there's more people in there than maybe there really is, or maybe it look like there's a lot of people dancing around, and, you know, those commotion stuff, and you got to get through people. I mean, that's, you know, you rehearse that. At least you should rehearse, you know, and really figure all that out. So anyways, I don't mean to babble, but I really appreciate what you guys have done. And it's really cool that way. Now, I was going to say Zach for some reason, Josh. Now, Zach.
Because I said Zach a few
times. I know, he's your DP. Hey Zach, how you doing? For Josh, now for me, I was co-directing with Bruce, my best friend of 30 years, and you know, we are very similar to each other, which is kind of makes it kind of fun. And we get excited about ideas, and we get excited about articulating those ideas to each other, and doing our best to communicate those ideas to the, you know, the cast and the crew. And we have our different ways of doing it, but hopefully still clear at the very least. One of the things that I've discovered as a director is, because I come from the acting side of things, and that can be both a blessing and a curse. And one of the things that I always have to try and remember to do is not, I mean, it depends. Sometimes it's warranted, but generally speaking, because I'm an actor, there's always that instinct in you that wants to show them how to do it, right? No, I want you to say it like this or do it like this, which isn't what you're supposed to do at all, right? I mean, I've had people line read for me in voiceover, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? So, and I think I was pretty good at not doing that on set of Billy. But one of the things that I found, which helped me a lot, is always remembering to give the actor their motivation, right? So what is the motivation? So, because a lot of the times, you know, you can tell an actor, okay, you walk into the room and, you know, you're supposed to be looking around, you know, and it's like, but if that's all the direction you give them, unless they are the type of actor that takes initiative and that is able to sort of think about something and is really in the moment and in the scene, it can look like that's not coming across. And maybe they're supposed to be looking for the gun or the guy under the bed, or, you know, or they're afraid because they heard, you know, the chimes outside the window or something. But if you don't communicate that motivation to them properly, it can look like they're just walking aimlessly into a room, you know, and they're kind of just doing this kind of thing. So for me, I try to remember to do the best to give them the motivation. What's the actor's or the character's motivation for walking in here, doing this, doing that kind of stuff? What were some of the things that you had to tell yourself, and sort of maybe your style and your approach to making a movie?
Yeah, I mean, it started with me and Shelby and me and Sarah having a lot of conversations about the characters, the backstory of the characters, going through kind of each scene of the script where the character, I'd say the biggest thing, because, you know, this is more of kind of a psychological thriller. I really feel like, especially, you know, Shelby's character, we always kind of talked about where she is, where's her headspace in this specific scene.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what is she trying to accomplish in the scene? You know, and
yeah, that's
so
it.
Again, we talk. Yeah. So like we would, depending on what scene it is, I'd talk about, you know, what is she trying to accomplish? What is she trying to do in the specific scene? We'd bounce off ideas. I tried to just be as clear as I could on each moment, you know, each beat, you know, and they, Shelby and Sarah, you know, they worked together as well. We did a lot of, quite a bit of rehearsing, at least the day before, you know, and I think I just, you know, I'm trying to word this the right way, but just kind of talk them through the actions and then make it believable with the story. You know, the story really comes first. You know, we had to talk about the blocking, you know, how you hit each marks. And I know what you mean. Like I've actually done that before, where I would take an actor, I would say, okay, you hit this mark exactly, you do this exactly. But I tried to be a little more lenient on this because Shelby and Sarah were bringing a lot to the table. And like they would bring ideas, and I wanted to be more receptive to their ideas. You know,
Yes.
What would you do in this situation?
Yeah.
You know, rather than me just forcing, you're going to hit this beat, you know, because I wanted them to make these characters feel as real as they could to themselves. And that's kind of why I tried to go deeper into their relationship. And then number one, Shelby's a very talented actress. So is Sarah. They've been on many projects. So you can trust them. You can trust them with just giving them specific information and then kind of let them take that as they will. And then if it needs tweaking, I would say, okay, well, maybe you could say this line at a lower register, or maybe you're a little more hyper in this certain line. But the nuts and bolts, they would get very close. It'd just be like tweaking certain things to feel natural between the dynamic of the characters.
Yeah, I hear you. Again, I can speak because obviously having just worked with Shelby, and I mean, all three of them were fantastic. But when we were shooting the dining room scene in Billy, and we were shooting Shelby's close-up or medium shot, I guess, we shot that once, by the way. I don't know if you remember that, Shelby, but we shot, when we would cut back to you, here up, right? And you're at the, and you're looking over at Victoria talking, we would shoot all your lines first and then shoot all Victoria, whatever. But that was, we just shot that once for you. And you are extraordinarily talented. And I think that when Josh is right, when it makes our jobs easier, it makes the director's job easier when you can give the actor the motivation, which is what you were just talking about, right? kind of what you see the character doing, what they feel, what's happening. And because actors like to be directed, they do. They like, but it's true. It's totally true. And I can speak to this. There are many times where the thing that, and I got, I won't say what it was, but recently I got a voiceover script that had just no direction to it, and I'm like, and I'm in my booth and I'm guessing and I'm doing stuff, and sometimes that can be fun, but when you take it so seriously, you step away and you go, I don't know. Like what now if it says on the script open to your interpretation, well then okay, then I know that I can. But when it doesn't, so you're like, we like to be directed, we like to be told what to do, at least what our motivation is, how to feel, because we want to tap into our tool belt, of things that we have developed over the years, or that natural talent that actors have, and being able to find the right tool. But if we don't know what we're building, we don't know what tool to go and get. And it's the director's job to say, well, you're building a house today, you're building a road today, I need you to do this, I need you to, feel this. And you're like, oh, okay, I know, I got that screwdriver, and you know how to bring it to the table. And so, Shelby is a great example of that. That it's a very, very natural, very natural. I can totally see how, that would come across in being able to sort of, not having to direct, through the roof. It's just kind of like, do this and do that. And if there is something that's off or whatever, it is that minor tweaking and adjusting to kind of just fit it right a bit, So yeah, I totally get it. I get it. And again, I can only speak the way I'm talking now because I know Shelby. So if there was somebody else here who I didn't know, I wouldn't be able to talk personally about it in regards to Shelby. But I'm trying to think, when do you think, are you going to drop like a trailer for it? When do you think you'll drop a trailer for it?
I'm not sure if we'll drop a trailer still. There might be some more, maybe we'll do a second teaser because it's such a
short film.
It's such a short film. I don't want to give too much away. So the teasers, maybe around 30 seconds. Maybe I was thinking maybe we do one more small teaser and maybe it would simply focus on the two sisters' relationship. I know I mentioned that to Zach before. He's doing the editing. But I don't think we'd drop a full trailer because you're giving, you want to especially, now too with, not that you can't do this, but, our attention spans are definitely shorter than they used to be. So if you do something, I believe, strong and it's 30 seconds and it feels impactful and you do a couple of those, I think that still draws, at least for this project, if it's a feature length, yes, we definitely drop a 2-minute traditional trailer. But yeah, I think we probably drop something else, probably in the middle of the Kickstarter, because I know you mentioned this before, Dave, but of course, with every campaign, everybody's really excited at the start, and then it kind of dips, so you got to, gain back that excitement. So it'd be nice to drop something in the middle of it to just continue the momentum.
For sure. Well, if and when. I think if and when. I think that's the order. When we're going to, if, I don't know. No, but if and when you do drop that, and that's what I meant, by the way, I should have clarified that when I meant, or when I said trailer, yes, obviously it makes sense. You're not going to drop a 2-minute trailer off a 10-minute movie. It's crazy. But yeah, if, a 30-second TV spot, right? You know what I mean? That kind of thing, or, you know, what have you, I think is the right way to go. It just gives you enough where you're like, oh, okay, I kind of know what's going on here. That's interesting. I want to check that out. So if and when you do drop it, let me know, shoot me a message, and whether you drop it on YouTube or Vimeo or wherever, I'll share it. I'll share for sure, because I like what I'm seeing, you know, and it looks good, you know, it looks, like I said, competently made by people who are passionate about it. And there was something else I was going to say too, and I forget something you said, and I was like, oh, I need to capitalize on it. I forgot. Anyway, go ahead.
There's something you were saying earlier, just to give, you know, because some people are interested in this, but so with Shelby and Sarah, you know, there was a lot of communication beforehand about their characters and where they were going. And but he was very talented, but he much more preferred me to really give him a lot of direction, like, because he was playing such a darker character, I really had to get him in that darker headspace. So I remember, well, I'm a big fan of Scream, and I always remember Wes Craven saying to Drew Barrymore that he had to tell her all these horrible things to get her in that state where she reacted so well in that opening of Scream. So just that philosophy, when you're playing something that's so, you know, he's almost like some sort of evil entity, you know, you got to give him a little more to make that believable. You can't just say, he's scary, you know, you got to dig deeper psychologically so he can play that more accurately. And so that was a different challenge to go through, but it was really exciting because every actor is different, you know, like let's just say I was directing you, you know, you might want that kind of direction, or whoever, you know, like it depends on the personality, but that's all true. Of those it's all very valuable, you know?
Yep. No, that's true. Everybody is different. And, you know, obviously when I say actors like to be told what to do, I mean, I'm sure there's some actor out there that doesn't, but you know, it's, you know, when you are an actor, you look for the director to tell you, you know, okay, what do you want? I mean, you know, and sometimes directors can be great communicators and if they don't know what they want, they'll kind of go, you know, just give me a moment, I need to figure this out, whatever. And they'll go figure it out, and then they'll come back. And then some directors are more strict, and it's by the book, and it's, you know, line by line, and it's got to be exactly how it is. Or, you know, I'm the kind of, and I think we did this on Billy, if I'm not mistaken, Shelby, but although you guys did know the lines pretty locked and loaded, but one of the things that I remember Bruce and I saying was, you know, don't worry about getting it like verbatim word for word, as long as you're getting the same thing. I mean, don't deviate too much, but you know, if the line is, "Hey man, what's going on?" And you know, and you say, "Hey buddy, what's happening?" I mean, you know, it's the same thing, right? And if there is a specific reason that it needs to be, "Hey man, what's going on?" Well, then, you know, we'll let you know. But I think that also, and again, not every director is like that. Josh, I don't know if you are, and you can speak to that. But for me, I always find that lightens things up on set a bit, where there's it gives more control to the actor, and it allows them to know the lines, obviously, but to make it more conversational, perhaps, and make it feel a little more sort of natural. But that's me. And again, it would depend on what they're saying and what the information is that is being recited. I mean, sometimes it has to be said in a very specific way, or otherwise it's just not going to make any sense. But yeah, anyway, I don't know where I was going with that now, but it was something I was going to ask you. Anyway, whatever. There was something it was on the tip of my tongue. I swear to God, it wasn't just to stroke my own ego. I was trying to think of something. Now I can't remember. God damn it. It was something related to what you were talking about. What were you talking about before I said that? Oh, you were talking. That's what it is. So you were talking about the actor, right?
Different actors. They have different styles, so some want more information, some want less. Some don't even probably want to know about the backstory of their characters because they'll create it themselves.
Right.
It just depends, you know.
Right, and it can be tough. You know, it can be tough. I mean, you know, I certainly don't have enough experience as a director yet to have worked with so many different actors and so many different personalities. We were very fortunate on Billy that everybody just loved each other. Everybody just got along great. And that doesn't always happen. When the crew gets bigger and the cast gets bigger and egos get bigger, and things can really sort of be complicated. So you're right. Yeah, I think it sounds that. And especially to have that many extras and the nightclub scene, all that kind of stuff. I mean, you were really sort of handling at least for that scene, a larger sort of scene, that night. How did you find that, by the way? Handling a scene of that many extras with that many wheels sort of turning. Was it, let me say, did it go off without a hitch, or were there issues, or did you find you kind of just, I got this?
That was a big challenge. Shelby mentioned that before. I'd never done a scene on that capacity. That was something, I'd written the scene as a club, and me and Zach had always talked about, we want to fill the club with as many extras as possible. We want to make this believable. But the execution, luckily we had a decent sized crew, probably similar to what you had on Billy. We had around 15 to 20 on the crew. So I actually had somebody that was designated to work with the extras.
Amazing.
They would come to me. We'd place the extras where we thought was appropriate. Yeah. So I worked with this person. We placed the extras where we deemed correct. Then me and Shelby would go over the blocking, which we did the day before. And then it was a matter of placing them, talking. I talked to each one. I talked to each group. Hey, this is kind of what you're going to do in this specific scene. This is what, sometimes I wouldn't even tell Shelby, hey, this person is going to, some of them, we wanted the scene to be aggressive. So some of the extras were kind of, like they'd shove Shelby or something like that. So she'd have genuine reactions when that actually would happen. It wasn't like a really violent shove, but it was just kind of feel like that dirty, grungy club. We wanted to make it feel realistic. So, I had, again, a second hand to help with that. And then I think we ran kind of similar to what you said with It's Me, Billy, with the oneer, which, by the way, I want to just say that that's a gorgeous shot. I thought that was a tremendous shot. But it took around, I think, 8 or 9 takes, and I think we probably nailed a few of them. But just all those moving pieces, it's as simple as like a certain extra, they move the wrong way, or a certain extra, I'd say, hey, I want you to have this reaction. Maybe they didn't pull it off as realistically as possible. Again, it's the camera. Sometimes the focus wouldn't be right on a certain scene. The camera department wouldn't run the take again. But we were able to, it actually turned out really well as far as just being able to manage all the extras, because I think they were all so supportive of the project too, which was really nice. They were friends of the department head who was the extras coordinator. So it was a big challenge, but also it just felt like the energy was right, and there wasn't, you never know how something like that will go. I had no idea, but there was something that just felt meant to be, and that's in a weird way to say it, but it was just, I think we did our homework, so it went sort of smoothly. There were some hiccups, but we got through them because, okay, well, we didn't pull the focus, let's try it again, let's run it again.
Yeah.
Shelby kept hitting her marks, so we were like,
great work. I mean,
but yeah, it went really well.
No, congratulations, man. I mean, I can imagine that would be intimidating at first. Like, I want to make sure everything's all right. We got all these people in here. Do they look like they're dancing to music, or do they look like they're just dancing aimlessly, or, what's going on? You got so many things you got to watch, and pay attention to, and to have that help. And it sounds like you were very prepared going into the shoot, which, and I know you can say this. I mean, I cannot stress enough, how important it is to be really prepared. I think there's too many people independent filmmakers, not everybody, of course, obviously, but there are those out there that sort of figure it out on the fly, or think they can, or they show up to set and then they figure out where they're going to put the camera, you know, and that eats up so much time, you know, and it sounds like that just was not the production here. You guys were very prepared, very professional, on point, on your game. And that makes everything, that keeps everybody happy. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be problems, or you're not going to have to problem solve an issue, or maybe you got to go an extra hour for, you know, whatever reason. Those things happen. But if you can keep your crew happy and your cast happy and everybody, you know, the morale on set really sort of happy, you know, people are willing to fight for you. You know, they're willing to say, no, dude, look, you know, we got an extra hour. Don't worry about it. Let's do it. You know, but if everybody is like, you know, the last thing people are going to want to do is go that extra hour, you know, and they'll do it, but they'll do it dragging their heels and pouting, you know, and so it sounds like you had the opposite effect, that you guys were just really all there for each other and had like this little family for a week, you know, and that's the way to do it. And again, I mean, that gets harder as the productions get bigger, but certainly on small indie shoots, I think that's the way that it should be approached. And it sounds like that's what you did.
Yeah. We had a tight knit group. I mean, a lot of these people are a good number of them were my friends. I worked on previous projects with them, but really a couple of the people at the top, including Zach, they'd had a lot more experience than me. And honestly, which something was the best part of this project, was they really challenged me to push myself further, to be more prepared with the shot list, to be more prepared with the blocking. Me and Zach did a lot of camera tests before, just to test it with, you know, different people. And we just wanted to come on set because we knew how difficult it could be, because we had a lot of complex shots. We had a lot of complex blocking. We were very mindful of, okay, we're bringing these extras in, we're asking a lot from them. Let's get these certain shots done in a really small time frame, you know, like in a 4-hour time frame. And then there were certain ones that were willing to shoot a little longer. But we knew the majority of people, you know, we can't ask somebody to stay here 6 hours when we don't have the funds to, you know, to make them feel like this is worth their while. So We just really wanted to be mindful of everyone, and just everyone to feel really confident, you know, that we had everything put together. And that was a big priority for us. And I think really Zach and people with a lot more experience, they taught me how to manage that and to put in the extra work to make that run smoother. Amazing.
Well, shout out to them, to Zach and everybody who helped you put this together, and obviously post-production is going on right now, and they are looking to raise $5,000 US on their Kickstarter campaign. I will put the link into the chat room now. Again, guys, anything you can do to help would be greatly appreciated. It's like an Indiegogo campaign, but it's Kickstarter, same kind of thing. I mean, I'm sure there's a few differences, but it's going to look similar if you click the link. Help them out if you can. You know, that would be awesome. And obviously I will pin the link to the page here as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, you know, I wish you the best of luck. I mean, you're doing well so far. I mean, you know, like I said, you've got, you know, you're looking to raise $5,000. You're closing in on 1,000 already, and it's still got 44 days to go. So you guys, it's not a huge target to reach, and you're already, I don't know what the percentage is here. It doesn't show me the percentage, but you're already at least, I don't know, 20. Yeah, I was going to say like 20 to 25% there on your first day. So, and $5,000 is not a huge, I mean, it's absolutely achievable within the time frame that you had. But one thing I will say though, if I could give a little bit of advice, is I will say that one thing that I learned, thankfully it's a strength of mine, just because I communicate for a living, I guess. And I'm I'm theatrical and all that kind of stuff. But not that it was easy. It was exhausting. But when you're passionate about it, obviously it makes it easier. But one thing a lot of people don't understand, not that you don't, I'm not saying you don't, I mean, you do, but a one thing a lot of people don't understand is that when you start a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo, you know, there's so much work, as you know, that goes into creating the campaign. And then there's launching it. I mean, we spent probably 7 or 8 months on the Billy campaign alone, and then we launched it. But it doesn't stop there. That's when the real work begins. I mean, that's when you got to get it out to people. You got to talk about it. You got to annoy the hell out of people. You got to be, you know, sharing it on social media and, you know, click here, click this. You got to, you know, you warn people. You say, now listen, for the next month, you're going to see a lot of this and it's going to be really annoying, you know, but it's what you got to do, you know, out of sight, out of mind. Right. And I think a lot of people have really good ideas and really good films in different stages of production, and there's various reasons why they're launching an Indiegogo campaign. Sometimes it's to raise funds for the actual shoot of the movie. Sometimes it's to raise funds for post-production or, you know, what have you. And sometimes I'll see things and I'm like, oh, that's really good. Like that's a great teaser. It's a great video. It's a great idea. And there's nothing. They raised $200 out of their, you know, whatever they wanted to raise because they just let it sit. They put it up there and they think that somehow, you know, if I build it, they will come. But unfortunately with something like this, you got to be a salesman, you know, and you got to be really sort of selling the product, you know, especially when it's something that people don't know about and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, I know you know all this. I'm just saying that's one of the things that I learned because, you know, we were successful, but I think it wasn't really just because people wanted to see a Black Christmas sequel. It was because we did we worked our asses off to really sort of to make them believe that they did. You know, and that's really kind of what it's all about, right? And you've done a great job with a lot of things that you've showed me and the way the Kickstarter looks and the video and stuff. I'm sitting here, and even if Shelby was not in it, I'd be like, I want to see this. You know, I'm like, I want to see this. Like you've done that video is really good. I love the way you shot it and the way you got your guys. Hey, I'm Zach. What's going on? I'm the DP and I'm this, that. And you're up there and you're talking this way and it's shooting this way. You know, you're doing all the trick. You're doing it. I like it. It's good. It's good stuff. But it looks good, right? It looks professional. It's tight. It's like 2.5 minutes or whatever it is. That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. So folks, if you can, it would be greatly appreciated. I know Shelby would really appreciate it. And obviously Josh and Zach would really appreciate any donation you can. It doesn't have to be a lot. And there's perks too, right? I mean, there's things that you get. What are some of the things that you can get?
You can get a t-shirt with my face on it.
No. I want that. I will be wearing it all the time. Well, not all the time. That might be a little creepy, but
You need to get one, Dave.
I think I do. That's amazing. Is it just your face, or is it part of the poster?
It's me and Sarah.
Okay.
It's like a poster image, but it has my face on it. And then there's a couple of different T-shirts. There's a couple of different posters that Josh had put together as well.
Right.
Different digital packages, producing packages, all kinds of things.
Very cool. Very cool.
There's also a score available in one of the perks. There's, for the higher end perk, there's one where, at some point I want to do a cast and crew just only screening. So, there's an executive producer one where somebody could donate and they could be a part of the cast and crew screening. So, and then, the big draws, I think, are the 2 T-shirts that Shelby mentioned, the 2 posters, both different styles. And then you're kind of standard, end credits, thank you. We have a magnet, a couple things, but, we got a really talented artist to create those posters. All those images were very well put together by this.
Absolutely.
artist.
Let me just bring up because now I have the background of us right now is actually the thing, but let me actually go get the poster. 1 second here. I think hang on. I got another folder. 1 second here. It's just live TV, folks. Live TV. Let me just do this and do this. Okay, I want to bring this up. Okay, so this is the poster here, folks. That or one of the posters. I know you have a few of them, but this is the one that you sent me. Anyway. Okay. This is the poster for Sisters. We have Shelby Handley. Is it Wesley or Wesley? Wesley?
It's Wesley.
Wesley Swickley? I think that's how you say that. It's a cool name. I like that. Wesley Swickley. And Sarah Rowan?
think it's Roan. I think it's Sarah Roan.
Sarah Ron?
Roan. Or maybe
Like
it's Rowan.
Roanoke.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, cool. And of course, we at the top there says created by Josh Martin and Zach Clark, sisters brought together only to be torn apart. Ooh. I'm telling you, it's cool, man. And the synopsis is on the Kickstarter. The synopsis says, Willow's a troubled young woman being watched. She faces the shadows in the dark. Excuse me, let me try that again. She faces the shadows in the dark, fearing for her life. Will the sister who abandoned her years ago come to her rescue before it's too late? And I like this image here. You can go to the Kickstarter and see all this, but I want to bring this image up as well because it's a really cool image of, let me just delete that. It's a cool image.
Is that the one of Willow in the bathroom?
I love the lighting, love the way it looked. Hi, it's got that grungy sort of, kind of vibe. I really like it. There we go. There it is. Ooh, I love the look on your face. It's great. That's great stuff.
Yeah, we actually had a, I don't know if you had this, Dave, but we had an on-set photographer for Sisters. She was taking a lot of behind the scenes photos. Her name is Alyssa Keown or Keown. I'm butchering that, but she was incredibly talented. She would take like Shelby, or she would take Sarah, and she would frame these images that looked like they're legitimate images from the film, but they were not. They were just simply used for promotional purposes, but they looked like something that would be from the film.
A good on-set photographer can do that. We actually, for Billy, we had hired an on-set photographer, and then I forget why, but they couldn't do it. It was like a few days before we had to go to camera. So we said to everybody on the crew, we said, the cast, everybody, when you can, feel free to snap photos anywhere and everywhere, which is what we did. And Greg, our DP, obviously snapped some great ones. Obviously, being a DP, you would expect that he would. And Emma, who was our production assistant, she took the camera and went around and got a few really nice shots as well. So thankfully, we do have a lot of stuff, but unfortunately, we were supposed to have somebody that was just their job, but unfortunately that it fell through. Here's another great one of Shelby. I love this one too. This is great. You look angry. You look angry.
Yeah, that is a point in the film. I think I know which one you're mentioning, and that one.
It's from the side.
Profile. That's a very intense one. That's something I hadn't seen before, but until the on-set photographer sent me the email. Some of those images, I was just like, wow, this girl has, she's very bright.
Stuff.
Bright future. Definitely.
Absolutely. It's great stuff. It's great stuff.
You guys are too nice to me.
All right, it's crap. It's absolute crap. It's crap. Oh, you thought we're talking about you.
I'll take it.
No. That's right. Okay, well, let's, again, I'm just going to throw that link into the chat room there. There it is, Kickstarter for Sisters. And you know what? I wonder if there's a way I can, I wanted to show that little teaser, but.
Oh, just the teaser?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you'd have to find the right time code because it's like a minute 20 in maybe.
Let me just go, hang on a sec here. There you guys are. Teaser. Okay. Let me see if this is going to work. I'm going to cover you guys up here in a second. Actually, it'll probably cover me as well. This is the Kickstarter campaign here. But actually, you know what? I'm going to have to do it in a different, 1 second here. Hang on a sec.
I need to download just that teaser to YouTube, to make it easier for people to access.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a way I can, hang on, just give me 1 second here. We're doing this on the fly. Let me see if I can actually, whoop, that's the wrong one. McRae live on air. I don't want that. I wanted, oh, wait. There we go. do this, and then I'm going to do that. So there's 2 of Shelby, but I don't want 2 of Shelby. I want to put this. I don't know if this is going to work. Hang on a
Could
second.
not handle 2 of me.
No, nobody could. Just crazy. Okay, so I'm just doing this. Give me 1 second. We're doing this on the fly. We're doing it live, ladies and gentlemen. This is a little bit of the teaser here for Sisters. 1 second. I'm going to just put this on. Is that okay? No, I got that. All right. Let me put it. Okay, full screen. You should be able to hear it. Here we desktop. Yeah, that's up. Okay, here we go. Let's try this.
Your generosity will go towards support.
There you go. Is that Zach? I think that was Zach that.
After the teaser, it probably is. Yeah,
probably is. Yeah, I think that was Zach at the end there.
It is. Yeah. Yep.
So. Yeah. Oh, we all. Hang on a sec here. We all just moved out of the way here. There we go. I can actually get rid of that now. Dun, dun, dun. So that was the teaser for Sisters. That was part of the, or that is part of the Indiegogo campaign. It's habit. The Kickstarter campaign video, which is really cool. And when I saw that, I was like, this looks great. It's well cut together, well shot. I like the look and the feel of it. It's got that gritty, grungy kind of look, but all in the right ways, all in the positive ways, all in the ways that you want. And there's definitely I can tell that this is a stylistic choice, right? These are creative choices that you've made, which is great. And so it makes me excited to see it. So again, Kickstarter link, there it is in the chat room there. If anything can help, even if just spreading the word would be greatly appreciated. And obviously this show will be up on my channel for others to watch in the coming days and whatnot. So hopefully it'll help, right? Every little bit helps. And like I said, it's not an unachievable goal. It's $5,000. So it's pretty marginal in the, or pretty, yeah, I guess so. Marginal? Yeah, I think that's right. It's pretty achievable. I'll just say that. So can you guys stick around for like another 15 minutes or so? We'll take a few questions from the viewers. I think there were a couple of super chats that came in and a couple of ones that had nothing.
Absolutely.
Brienne Ivanitsky just sent in a $5 sticker. Do you know who Brienne Ivanitsky is? I've never seen it. No, I don't either. Somebody who's
I haven't.
Thank you, Brienne. I think it's Brienne, not Brienne. Brienne. Did I say that? Anyway, appreciate that. Booster Seat sends in a Halloween question. What a shock. Can Dr. Loomis have another cameo in Halloween Ends? No. Well, he could, but I don't think he's going to. Calvonics Music? Who's that guy? I don't know. He sends in $5 Canadian, says Shelby is the GOAT. Well, that's not very nice. I mean,
thank you.
That is all he says. Now, how's it going, Calvonics Music? Shelby is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. He might be onto something there. Academy Award next week. So yeah, if you have any questions, folks, for, I think there was one that came in here. Somebody said, Harry Hagen says, looks like a trippy Darren Aronofsky film. Kind of does look a little bit like that. Kind of does.
Yeah, because I mean, like, especially like Requiem for a Dream or Black Swan, there's a lot of, because, again, those kind of are in the psychological thriller vein. And we really wanted to, again, a lot of it is where's Willow at, where's Sarah at, and that kind of motivated the camera movement, which you were correct. Right. There's a lot of gimbal, there's a lot of tracking shots, there's a lot of, even when they're static at the bar, the camera's still, there's kind of a creepy POV that's moving in. Right. We got, some interesting dolly shots. It's very rare that the camera is static. Right. Right. So it kind of, it's kind of it just felt natural for that to be the style of the material.
Yeah.
That's kind of something that's pushed for.
It's so important, dude. And, you know, again, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I've seen this little snippet. And from what I've seen, like I said, it looks competently made. And that's one thing that I tell people all the time is that you can have the best equipment in the world, but if you don't know how to use it, it doesn't matter. You know, I think too many people put a lot of focus in on, you know, what did you shoot on? What did you shoot on? What did you shoot on? It's like, well, I can tell you we shot on this, we use this, we use this, we use this. But, you know, if the people behind that don't know what they're doing or have never shot with it, or, you don't know how to light a scene, you don't know how to craft your shots and where to place the camera and all that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, you can use the Arri Mini, which is what we shot Billy on with Master Primes, which is what we used, and still have it look like ass. You know, I mean, it looks as good as it does because of our team, you know, and everybody involved and how to light the scene and, you know, the shot list and, you know, the vision, obviously, you know, and all that kind of stuff. But it's not just getting the camera and pointing and shooting, you know, it's not just going to look like that by sheer, you know, by just turning on the camera and shooting. There's so much more that goes into it. And that comes down obviously to the vision of the director and the relationship that you have with Zach and where you want to place the camera and what you want to tell. What do you want to convey through this scene? Is the camera moving? If it's not moving, you know, one of my favorite shots in Billy was at the dining room table when the camera is tracking across the table to Victoria as she's beginning to tell the story. And that was the first time that we actually had movement, because before that it was just the 3-shot of, you know, the girls. And then as she begins to tell the story, the camera is tracking in. Well, even though the audience isn't necessarily going to think of this when they're watching it, for us as filmmakers, we made that creative decision because we wanted the audience to almost be like the fourth girl, at the end of the table who's leaning in to listen. Right? So they're leaning in as things start to get real and things start to get serious, and the camera's slowly tracking in, and we're getting closer to her, and it's like, shh, come here, listen, you know, and obviously the audience isn't necessarily going to go, oh, I think that's what they're doing, you know, but the directors, you know, as a filmmaker, you have a vision and you're creating a mood through the use of cinematic language. And that's and, you know, again, I say this because I'm giving you a compliment, because, you know, I look at this little teaser and I'm like, I want to see more. Like this looks well shot, you know, well cut together. This could be something special. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, I mean that. So if I didn't think that, I just wouldn't say anything. But it looks pretty cool, you know, and I can tell that you've thought about these choices, you know what I mean? And it's really nice to be able to talk to somebody who understands that, who gets that. You know, that it's more than just point and shoot.
Yeah, because one thing, because I know your audience is big Halloween fans, and honestly, that's how I found your channel. I'm a huge Halloween fan, and one story that's always stuck with me, you probably know this one, Dave, but I remember when John Carpenter met with Dean Cundy, and Dean Cundy had shot a lot of low budget movies, and he said on most of those, it was just shoot the actors, you know, shot reverse, you know, cover the scene, move on. And he said John Carpenter he said right from the get-go, he had all these complex shots, and that each one, it was telling the story through the lens. That's right. And Cundy was like, wow, okay, now I'm actually going to do something. So the framing, everything is intentional. You know, that's why I think that movie is such a brilliant movie, because the flow of it's just perfect. The way the shots cut to each shot, it's just, that's telling a story through the camera, which isn't done to that level, you know, in many movies, you know. So it's really something that I always gravitated towards, and, you know, like, you know, giving you a shout out, like what you would do with Billy with the oneer, and then, you know, certain scenes that would build the intensity, like when Malika is killed, and the way that you're drawing the intensity with where you're holding on the shot to create, you know, like I remember you saying that in a podcast or one of your earlier streams, but that's really important if you don't use the camera in that way, it's not going to have the intensity it would if you're just like, well, we just got to film this in a master. Let's get some close-ups. Let's move on. Yeah. You know, it doesn't have the same effect depending on what story you're telling.
No, you're right. You know, it's amazing. I think some people, and I understand why. I totally get it. I think some people may have thought that we chose to shoot Maleka's death like that because of budget. And no, it wasn't because of, no, it had nothing to do with that. It was all because we wanted, first of all, we were being stylistically, we wanted to be very much in vein of the first Black Christmas film. So we didn't want to get all gratuitous, you know, for unnecessary reasons, but also because of the intensity of it, you know, and the theater of the mind, seeing that intensity. Billy stabs Maleka 22 times and we don't cut from it. It's just, we're tracking behind the bed and you just see him going up and coming down and going. And in many ways that, you know, when we discuss, I mean, we thought of that shot months before we went to camera, and we would get goosebumps even just talking about it, thinking, God, if we can pull this off, just sitting with it, you know, just sitting there and not turning away. You're forced to watch this. There's no quick cuts. There's no opportunity for you to, you know, no, you are forced to sit there and just take this in, you know, and it's that can be far more effective. That style can be far more effective than anything grotesque that you see. And I appreciate that a lot more. You know, so yeah. Anyways, as we've been chatting, if you have come in, I wanted to ask you, Josh, what are some of your inspirations as filmmakers?
There's the movies I most reference. I mean, honestly, one of them is Halloween. I just, you know, again, I don't know why this is kind of goofy, but I literally think about that movie almost every day just because of the way, just because it has like a beautiful, perfect flow to it. Like I know that now the acting's not perfect in every shot, but just how it envelops you in that world with the music, with the small town life, it just feels so familiar. And then it's beautifully executed. And I'm drawn to those type of movies. I mean, like, of course, The Shining, you know, just the slow dread and how it builds the tension. And there's they'll linger on shots and there's not even really anything happening, but it's kind of what you're saying with that shot with Maleka. That's the stuff I'm really drawn to, is the stuff that it brings you into that world. And then it doesn't pull away from that dreader. It doesn't pull away from the intensity of the film. It actually pushes you to look at it more, right? You know, and that you'd say The Shining's like that. You could say, well, he doesn't have a great reputation, but Rosemary's Baby has that aspect.
It's a great film. Yeah.
Even, you know, I'm trying to think of something. It's not a perfect film, but I mean, a recent one that, you know, I maybe because it has stylist influences by Carpenter, you can definitely tell, but I think it follows just as far as the cinematography and the way they'll frame shots and they'll linger when the characters are approaching. It makes you sit with it, you know, like there's not a lot of quick cuts in that movie. Yeah. And the soundtrack is very original. It's just those type of movies that, like, I don't know, it's just kind of, it's the language of the score, it's the language of the cinematography and the acting. It just all feels so fluid, and you're never kind of checking your watch or anything like that. Those are kind of maybe it's a little bit of those slow burns, I guess, a little bit. Yeah. I can think of other, even the opening of Screen, you know, I think that's a brilliant just execution. It builds up the tension, it keeps ratcheting it up. You know, once you feel comfortable, the phone will ring again. It's just the way you layer a scene and the way you execute it. If you execute it really well, The Conjuring, you love The Conjuring. Conjuring, brilliant.
I do love The Conjuring. I think the first Conjuring is great.
Yeah, James Wan is just a master at creating suspense, and then he doesn't always hit you at the point you expect to be hit at.
That's right. I like the first Insidious too. I think that's a good movie.
Yeah. It is a great movie.
Robert Kitzmiller sends in $2. Thank you, Robert. Says, Shelby, what's a dream role for you to play?
Ooh, there's a few, I guess. Of course.
Obviously.
Yeah, obviously. I think so my all-time, what I have always wanted to do was play Abigail Williams in The Crucible. And I might be getting a little bit old for that now, but if there was a movie remake it'd have to be in the next year. So I guess.
I don't know. I mean, with de-aging technology now, I mean,
maybe that's it. Y'all just have green dots on my face the whole time. That's fine. I would do that. Because the Crucible is my favorite play, and I just love how dynamic of a character Abigail Williams is. Like, she's the villain, but she's got a lot going on.
Complex.
She's very complex, or at least she could be. She has there's a lot of opportunity there.
That's right.
Generally speaking, I would love to be in a film like Blue Valentine or A Marriage Story, just something that's super emotionally raw and vulnerable. Like, those are the types of films that really speak to me from a performance standpoint.
Have you seen Revolutionary Road with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet?
Oh, I haven't.
It's from 2008. It was the first time they had linked up in a film since Titanic. Yeah. And so it's 14 years old now. But my girlfriend introduced me to that movie a few years back. And I was like, okay, no. She's like, no, you gotta watch this. And I'm like, okay. So I sat down, I watched, and I love Leonardo DiCaprio, and I love, Kate Winslet, and you throw them together, what's not to love, right? But this was it's just a ride of emotions, and the performances, especially towards the end of the film, I'm like, gee, you know how
I'll have to watch it.
DiCaprio is when he gets, really, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it's a Revolutionary Road.
Okay.
Really,
I will
really
check
good
it out.
movie. Yeah. Really.
It sounds like it would be up my alley.
Yes. Anyways, sorry, continue.
Oh no. The only other thing I had to say was I recently watched Attack on Titan, and I'm obsessed, and they're making a movie. I would love to be in that.
Is that a TV show?
It is. It's an anime show.
Oh, okay. And you think there's a character in there that you are totally fit for?
I think so.
Okay. Well, hey,
I like to think.
Start a petition. That's...
Yeah. I think that Warner Bros. Is doing the movie, so
that's right.
That's why it's a dream role.
That's it.
Aspirational.
That's it.
Down the road.
Well, it could happen. It could happen. Michael Thorne sends in $5, says, Shelby, do you feel that you learned anything on the set of, It's Me, Billy. I was like, what's that? It's IMDb that you've applied in your work since then. Thank you.
For sure. I mean, as I said earlier, I pick things up from every set that I'm on that I then take with me throughout every other role that I do. One of the really great things about It's Me, Billy was all of this sounds like an obvious thing, but oftentimes in film, there aren't, especially in short films, I should say, there's not a lot of rehearsals. It's you get the script and then you show up to set and it's here we go. Whereas we worked on it for a long time. So by the time that we got to set, we were not only ready to go, and not to belabor what we always talk about, but the connections that were there were just so natural. And so being in the scenes or even having to improvise was just so natural and normal and comfortable. And that's one thing that I hadn't had in other films before. And so taking that, even if I can't have that on other sets, finding ways to connect with that same feeling, even if it's just reaching out to the actors to say, hey, I just wanted to introduce myself. Why don't we have a virtual coffee sometime, or a drink on the computer, whatever, just to get to know each other a little bit, and really just preparing myself too. Because I think it's easy to start to get into a habit of, I just need to memorize the script a few days before and then I'll be good.
Yeah.
And it makes a huge difference when you don't have to worry about the lines or your character, just having all those conversations beforehand and really going through it. Again, it sounds like an obvious thing, but with a lot of these quick productions, it isn't always. So it's just finding time to really sit with the characters and get to know them, obviously, but getting to know the other layers of them too, those connections and making connections in real life, maybe that don't reflect that, but just kind of touching base with the other people on your project.
Yeah, it's well said, well put. I think every production you're on, when I say you're, I mean, the collective you're, all of us, I think anything we work on, any set that you're on or any project that you're on, whether it's good or bad, and obviously we always hope it's good, but you take something from it, you learn something from it that's probably positive, that you can apply elsewhere. And that was, again, to your point, and it doesn't usually happen. We cast Billy 8 months before we went to camera. And one of the reasons why Bruce and I felt so confident in allowing you and Victoria and Malika, it was 2 or 3 times we needed you, 2 or 3 times we needed you guys to improvise what in voiceover we'd call like a lead-in line, something, although it's a bit different because a lead-in line you actually don't use in the final product. It's just to get yourself into character. Here we were using it, but it was something that wasn't in the script, but it was just to get you guys going until one of you delivers the line that sets the whole scene off. And one of the reasons why we felt, because not everybody can improvise. Just because you're an actor doesn't mean you're a great improviser and you can actually do improv. The chat room needs to know that. Just because you're an actor doesn't mean you can do improv. But one thing that was so great is that we trusted, because you guys knew each other so well, relatively speaking, because, we felt that, and, coming up together and hearing you guys banter back and forth and talking with each other and you're just hanging out, we spoke and we said, we feel that they could do it. If we said, we need you guys to improvise, opening the door, you come in, you're having a little bit of a conversation, whatever, you guys could do it and nobody's going to kill the scene. And sure enough, that happened. It was great. And each time we did it, you didn't say the same thing twice, which was so good. So that's a level of confidence that isn't always there either. Yeah, a lot of fun for sure. Riker H sends in $2, says, hello, just saw the Batman the 4th time. Have you seen it? I have not seen the 4th time. Riker, my God. I have not seen it. Have you guys seen the Batman yet?
I have seen it, yes.
Yeah.
Saw it as well.
You saw it as well. Okay, well, I'm the loser. I'm hoping to see it soon, though. Did you guys like it?
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it looks great.
It does, yeah. The cinematography, the noir feel with the rain constantly coming down. It is gorgeously shot.
Did you enjoy the film, or were you like, I don't know?
It was a bit long.
It was a bit long. Okay.
I did enjoy it. I felt that it was a bit fatty, if you will.
Okay. All right.
Had some fat that was not trimmed. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Josh, what about you?
I would agree with that. I think it could have been cut down to about 2 to 2.5 hours, but there's some sequences that are extraordinary, just really well put together. Like, I don't want to have any spoilers, but yeah, I would say the world they created was really spectacular, and it's something that, if they do sequels, I'd probably want to revisit, because I just like that. I just like the way they used a lot of shadows and a lot of the sound design was really present in this one. It was just a different take on it, especially it's more of a detective noir, which was interesting.
Right. Very cool. Harry Hagan sends in $1.99 and says, what was your inspiration for writing Sisters, Josh? I think we talked about that at the beginning, but if you want to summarize again, feel free to do so.
Yeah, I won't labor this one. The inspiration really, again, was just to have two complex characters. And again, I wanted to kind of tackle, honestly, me and my own sister's relationship, and just something that felt more personal to me. Like, I'd written stuff in the past where it'd be more like in a genre type thing, but I really wanted to focus on what's a personal story to me, what's something that I feel only I could tell. And then I'll just kind of pour into my own kind of personal experiences in more of this genre type film, but have it feel more from my heart, I guess. I kind of wanted to try something that maybe even felt a little uncomfortable, just to do it, but just that it would have some emotional intensity and that I'd get excited about. Well,
there's a level of it being personal for you, and you're writing what you know, right? And it's an overused cliche, but they often say that, right? Write what you know, so It makes sense. Totally makes sense. Scott Justin sends in $10. Thank you, Scott. Says, you seem like nice people. Well, thanks, Scott. Appreciate that. I like to see nice people succeed. Oh, thanks, Scott. Appreciate that. Did Kickstarter before trailer played? Trailer looks great. Oh, I guess you saw the Kickstarter. The trailer looks great. Good luck. Well, thank you, Scott. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. If you can spread the word, Scott, that would be awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you. Riker H sends in another $2. Says, would you ever direct an adventure film like Jumanji? Josh, would you ever direct an adventure film like Jumanji?
I wouldn't say I would be totally opposed to it. It would, yeah. I mean, it would depend. I mean, yeah.
You know what I say when I get questions like that? I say, well, I have no desire to direct a film like Jumanji. I don't particularly am biting at directing a film like Jumanji. However, who owns it? Universal, Paramount? I don't know. If they came to me right now and said, Dave, we would like you to direct another Jumanji, I'm probably not going to say no. So, you know,
good answer.
Yeah. It depends on where you are on the ladder. You know, I mean, if I had just directed The Batman, I'd probably be like, nah. You know, but since it's just Billy, I'm like, sure. Okay. Yeah. You want me to direct a couple of CGI elephants running around after The Rock and Jack Black? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm down.
I'm an indie director, so I'm sure I would take the opportunity. So.
See, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. But I can't promise it's going to be good. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. Horror is my wheelhouse, so I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
That's what I was going to say. It's not normally my wheelhouse, but I would do a lot of research on family films and take a crack at it.
That's it. Here's a question, Shelby. I don't know if I've ever asked you. Do you have any interest in directing at all?
You know, I did in high school, like for theater, and I really enjoyed it. I think that I would probably enjoy it. I don't know what it would, I guess, take for me to get to a place, I guess, because I'm so focused on acting now that the thought of kind of taking that time away just like isn't really in the forefront of my mind. But I do really enjoy setting up scenes and developing characters, obviously, but like helping other people to develop characters as well and like letting them grow. And I really enjoyed that when I did it for theater in high school. So I wouldn't say that I would never direct a film. I would probably really love the opportunity at some point in my life. Yeah.
At some point. Cool. Harry Farley, did you change I thought it was Harry Hagen. Now it's Harry Farley. Well, that's all right. Sends in $2, says, Shelby, what's the most messed up film you've ever seen?
I hesitate to say.
Well, it's Billy, really, but go on.
Well, I watched a film once called The Serbian Film, or A Serbian Film, and that was messed up.
A Serbian film?
Don't watch it. I'm
Googling this right now.
See, I shouldn't have said.
No, not on it. What am I doing? Google.
Are you allowed to say the synopsis, Shelby, or is that too...
I don't even know. The synopsis is it's a retired porn star who is drawn back into like the dark web of porn, I suppose. And it's very explicit and very graphic, and it made me upset.
Yeah.
I wouldn't watch it again.
I'm not going to read the synopsis. Take it back. There's a few words in here that don't want the algorithms to pick up. So
yeah.
It's just, okay. Well, fair enough. There you go, folks. Good night, everybody.
No.
Chester Franklin Jr. says, hey, Shelby and Josh, congratulations on Sisters. After the production, will you guys put Sisters on YouTube? Cheers.
That's definitely a possibility. I'm going to do the festival run first, see how that plays out. Once that seems like it's kind of on its way out, I'm sure, at some point I'm going to put it on YouTube. kind of do some research on other, obviously there's not Venmo, but Vimeo. And I know there's some even this might interest you, Dave, but I've even heard there's certain, for short films, there's even sites where there's a monetary incentive. It's not guaranteed you could, I guess with Billy, it would be a completely
Well, with
different
Billy,
animal.
we can't, but I mean, for anything in the future that isn't, Billy or fan film related, that's, it's always good to keep in the back of the pocket, back of the mind.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know it exists. I'm not sure exactly which ones there are, but definitely YouTube at some point for sure.
Cool. Yeah. We put Billy up on Vimeo as well. Cause obviously it tends to be sort of, a standard when it comes to filmmaking and films and things like that. But also, Billy, obviously there's a lot of dark stuff and a lot of night stuff and Vimeo is just better with the compression, and on YouTube, it looks fine. I've had people say, no, it looks fine. But you can notice a difference if you watch the night scenes with Billy on YouTube compared to if you watch it on Vimeo. There's a gigantic difference, and that's just because of YouTube's compression. They get so many uploads. They need to compress more than Vimeo does. So it's always good to have it up on Vimeo. I mean, if I was going to share a link to showcase it as a portfolio piece, I wouldn't share the YouTube. I would share the Vimeo version. Like, it looks fine on YouTube, but I'm just saying, that's one thing that I guess you got to keep in mind as well. Okay, I'm going to put the link in the chat room again. Oh, anticlimactic. There you go. There it is, folks. That's the Kickstarter to Sisters. Again, they're looking to raise about $5,000 US to help with post-production. The film has been shot. It was shot last September. Where's the, I had it. It's when I changed things over. The official synopsis again, Shelby. It stars Shelby Handley, who's right there on your screen. Willow's a troubled young woman being watched. She faces the shadows in the dark, fearing for her life. Will the sister who abandoned her years ago come to her rescue before it's too late? We're going to have to find out. And the campaign is there. There's also this other really cool, actually, before we go, I'm going to share this poster too. It's on the Kickstarter, but I want to share it here because this is really cool as well. This is another poster.
Shelby and Sarah.
Yeah, it's a cool poster. Great. I don't know who your artist was again, but shout out to them. They did a great job. This is really nice too. This is a cool poster. Here you go. Here it is. Really cool. I like that. I like it. Brought together only to be torn apart. And you see the torn apart is a different color and has a line under it. That means they are emphasizing it. It's going to be all about being torn apart. Thanks, Dave. Thanks. I didn't know that. Okay, no. But it's cool though. And I love the font for Sisters as well. I like that.
Actually, my sister created that. And then we reached out to another artist and he kind of employed that into the design of the poster because he actually thought she did a really nice job with that and he wanted to incorporate it. So it's got a little, mostly the artist that I hired, but a little bit of my sister Angela as well. So
very cool. Well, shout out to Angela. You did an awesome job. It looks absolutely fantastic. Oh, there we are. All right. Well, listen, that is going to do it for this installment of, well, it's not really McRae Live, but whatever it was tonight, this show, it's gonna do it for this show. Josh and Shelby, stick around for a few moments after we go off and we'll have more of a formal goodbye. But I want to thank you both for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best of luck with it, Josh. As soon as you have like a teaser that's ready to go or, another little promo or something, just shoot it to me and I'll be more than happy to share it. So people can see it and maybe it'll end up playing at a festival near where they live. So who knows, but, any last things you want to say, Josh or Shelby, any last things you want to say?
Well, I just want to say, Dave, that this is a great opportunity. I've never done something like this, and again, I have followed your channel for a number of years. I just think I really enjoy your content. I thought you had really interesting insight into Halloween that I've kind of like in other projects. I really enjoy you know, two dudes and
Oh, yeah.
and I'm, but I'm just, it's kind of a little bit surreal being on the show because I've been a fan and just you with It's Me, Billy, you know, I followed that project and I'd never thought I would, you know, Shelby was kind of like you know, you're throwing a dart at the wall and hoping it sticks, and just everything kind of came through, and how kind you've been to me through messaging and how kind Shelby's been through the whole process. This is just really, it's really an honor to be on your show, honestly, Dave, and I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity. So.
I appreciate you saying that, man. It's, you know, I do. I mean, I look, I mean, you know, you're very talented. I can see it. I can sense it. And I have no doubt that this, you know, who knows what's going to come of the movie, right? I mean, that's sort of out of our hands. It's one thing that I learned very early on when I entered the entertainment industry over 20 years ago, that a lot of what we do is really out of our hands. We do the best we can, and then we kind of let the chips fall where they may. But, you know, at the end of the day, you've worked hard, you've met great people, and it looks like you're going to turn out a great product. And like you said, it's short, you know, and so that is in your favor. It's short, can be impactful. Sounds like a great story. Sounds like a, you know, sort of like it makes me think. Now, I don't know. Don't say anything. I don't want to be spoiled. But when I watched Seabreeze, that was one of those movies that, like, by the end, I was like, oh, that was good. That was good. I have a feeling that the same kind of thing is going to happen here. I mean, it's not the same kind of movie, not dealing necessarily, I don't know, maybe, but I don't get the sense it's dealing with the same subject matter, but just more of that, you know, that psychological, right? Where you're watching like, yeah, I don't know. Just something about reading it, the way you put it together, the way you're talking about it, the conversations we've had, the script. It's solid, man. It's solid. So it was my pleasure to do it for you. You know, it's yeah. I mean, it's, you know, anything to get the word out there. Shelby, any last thing you want to say?
Honestly, it's just a pleasure to be back. Always nice to see you, Dave, and Josh. It's been a while since we've got to see each other. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in tonight and been really supportive and had a lot of questions. It's exciting to start to get it out there. So keep tuning in.
For sure. Another project that will be out there of yours. It's very, very, very exciting. And then, of course, Sledgehammer premieres tomorrow in Ottawa.
Yes, on Saturday. I said tomorrow, but I thought it was Friday today. So
okay.
That's my bad. But it's actually on Saturday.
It's actually on Saturday. All right. No worries there. Okay, folks, that's going to do it for us. Have a great rest of your Thursday night. And yeah, I'll be back whenever I'm back. Well, probably Monday, or I don't know, whenever I'll be back. I'll be back whenever. Have a great rest of your Thursday night, folks. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers.